Alright, I thought I'd give you a little introduction in terms of the DJI data link. I have a 900 megahertz data link. This unit is 1000 milliwatts or 1 watt. Quite a powerful transmitter, and you can see from the size of the unit, this is a GoPro for size comparison. Not a small piece of hardware, but certainly very powerful, and according to DJI, capable of transmitting data to the computer at 10 kilometers or less. So certainly allowing out of visual range flight control through the ground station. This is the receiver unit. Again, very strong construction, aluminum case, same size antenna, and connects to your computer using USB. It does have a dual USB cable. If you're using an older system that doesn't supply sufficient voltage, then it will require that you plug both in, but most modern PCs or laptops, which this will probably be used on, you can just connect one. The other item that's included in the kit is the CD, obviously very important, and we'll get into that when we get into the setup. But in order to activate the unit, one of the things that you will need is a new SN number from your reseller or DJI Direct in order to be able to activate View, Click and Go, and now the new 20-point waypoint that's coming out. So let's get into how it's mounted. I'm going to be mounting this on a F450 frame, and going to have a lot of stuff to go on a small piece of real estate, but we'll see how we can do. Okay, starting to make some progress on the install on the F450 frame. You'll see that I mounted the MU on the bottom plate, as well as the data transmitter, and right next to that is the power module, the PMU, and there's one very short cable, which is this one right here, which goes from the transmitter to the PMU, and so it required that I move it there in order to be able to have it very close. If you look down to my power connector, I've kind of bundled this together. I'm retaining the Castle Creations switching BEC so that I can add a camera mount in the future. So I've kind of got everything bundled up here, and have gone ahead and shrunk wrap the connectors on that. So yeah, it's a little bulky, but right now I think it'll work, and we'll go ahead to the next step, assembling the items on the top deck. Okay, here you see I've mounted the IMU on the top of the bottom deck, and I've also screwed in the mount for the GPS compass unit coming off the side. You'll notice that I have an additional Dean's connector here. What this allows me to do is plug in a NASA when I want to switch it between frames. Right now it's unused, but it's a nice feature to have if you have multiple frames and a single controller. So we'll go ahead and continue to get this set up. Okay, everything's pretty much wired up now. I'll give you one last picture of the bottom plate where you can see the MU, the PMU, and the data link transmitter. came out pretty clean on the bottom, and actually it still stands up on the legs on the F450 frame, which is actually pretty short. So that's good news. Hold on. Okay, now here's what it looks on the top of the bottom plate. You can see my receiver here. I'm using an AR8000. This is the LED and my satellite receiver. Here is the IMU mounted, and behind it you'll see that the stand for the GPS compass is mounted right behind it. It's kind of a bird's nest of wires, but try to get it as clean as possible. Actually, I'm pretty happy with its installation. Time to go ahead and button it up and start working on the programming. All right, I borrowed some of my wife's yarn to determine exactly where the center of the flame wheel frame is in respect to the IMU and the GPS mount. And as you can see, if I can get it right over the spot, it's pretty close to the very end of the IMU. These are the measurements that I'm going to use when I set up my WOK-M in the software. Okay, here it is completed. Actually, fairly clean installation. You can see the 3S 2650 cell. I've changed the orientation a little bit. Got the GoPro mounted on the front tab, hard mounted. Antenna for the GPS, antenna for data link. Got the satellite receiver on one side and the LED on the other side. So I did go ahead and calibrate all of the ESCs individually on the motors, so should be ready to go and set up the software right now. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the software setup, and you'll notice that I've gone ahead and I have my WOK-M powered with the LiPo. Got my transmitter turned on. Trying to find GPS signal, and if you look at the data link transmitter, it's on below. And so let's go ahead and now connect up WOK-M to the assistant. Let's go ahead and read what I've got set up. And right now it's set up for quad rotor. In terms of my mounting, my IMU is 2 centimeters in front of the center point. My GPS is 2 centimeters behind it and 9 centimeters above the Z-axis. Transmitter calibration I've already done. I'm using traditional, intelligent cutoff, and as far as my sticks go, I've got my Alt-2 set up for the X2, and I've got my lever on my 9503 set up for the X3. My 3-position switch is on my mode, and you can see I've got manual highlighted, ATTI highlighted, and GPS ATT highlighted. And I'm also using my gear switch to switch me into failsafe, And you'll notice that when I switch it, it goes fail-safe in all three modes. Okay, Autopilot. Right now I've got set up with 200 across the board in terms of my basic gains, and 160 on my attitude gains. That's going to change once I go out and tune it. My fail-safe is go home and land, and my intelligent orientation mode is set up on my aux2 switch, and you can see it's off, course locked, and home lock. So I've got that 3-position switch set up. My gimbal right now, I don't have one. I will hopefully very soon. And on voltage, using a 3S LiPo, got first level of protection at 10.6 with 0.2 loss, loaded 10.4. My second level is 10.3 with 0.2 and 10.1. So we'll go ahead and write all of that in. So now that you're set up in Assistant, one of the things you're going to have to do in order to be able to get your ground station set up is you're going to have to provide your reseller with the hardware ID. That's listed here. Okay? And once you do that, they will be able to provide you with a new SN number. Okay? You're going to input that SN number here, and you'll notice on mine, the view option is enabled, the joystick and keyboard are enabled, and the click and go is enabled. Waypoint is disabled. I do not have that option. But if you don't have that, then you're not going to be able to open up ground station. So let's go ahead and close out of here. We've already written here, and let's close this, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my WooKong-M, and I'm going to go ahead and power it down. Turn my transmitter off, and let's get started from there. I've gone ahead and inserted the WooKong-M ground station disk in my multi-drive, and we're going to go ahead and click on auto run. And it's going ahead and starting to run that right now. Okay, you'll see that the steps that need to be taken in order to be able to install ground station are: 1, install the Net Framework 3.5, install Internet Explorer 8.0, install the Google Earth plugin for DJI, install the USB driver for the receiver, and then install the ground station. After those are completed, go ahead and exit the CD. Which going to do. Okay, here we are back at my netbook, and this netbook is running XP. So we're going to go ahead and start up the ground station. Checking for internet, and it is now connected to internet. And it takes a while for the program to load. Someone said this is somewhere in China, not sure. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and connect the transceiver on the computer side into the USB port. You'll hear that the computer confirms that it is online. And right now it's showing COM17. If you go into Control Panel, System, Hardware, Device Manager, and Ports, you'll see the prolific USB to serial COM port connected under COM17. So let's go ahead and connect. And you'll see that now I'm connected. GPS is showing good. ATTI is good. Manual is mode. Right now the motor voltage is at 12.5 volts. So, looking pretty good, but I'm still in China. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and connect to the aircraft. And here I am. Lovely Henderson, Nevada. And shows my position. Let's make it. Shows my position right here, which is actually within probably a couple of meters of where I'm at. So anyway, that's the basics in terms of connecting the WOKM through Datalink into Ground Station 4.04. The other things you can do, you can choose a joystick. If you choose to do this, what will happen is that you actually have to do this every time. I have not found a way to choose a joystick, save it, and be done with it, and use that every time. So, kind of have to deal with that at that point. As far as the instrument board, got it set up here. This is one of the instrument boards that you can have. If you go to System Settings, go to Options, put the sound on. I like instrument board style 2. Okay, and let's go ahead and save that. Data link settings. Number of waypoints of one package 25, which actually this is click and go, so that's not going to work. And so let's go ahead and save that. And let's click over to the other instrument board. I kind of like this better. You know, you may or may not like it. It's kind of up to you. Now, in terms of actually making this work and going into click and go, the aircraft must be started. It must be hovering in GPS, at least 5 feet above the ground. At that point in time, you can go to click and go. And there's the click and go mode. I can click on it now, and it's not going to do me any good because it's not connected. What it'll do is once you're connected, it'll give you the option of where you want to go, what altitude you want to go to, and what speed you want to get there. And so by adjusting those parameters, it will move it around, and you can continually move that waypoint. Other than that, We're going to go ahead, we'll save the rest of it in terms of actually in the field to the next installment. But I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, you need any help, please let us know, and we'll be happy to try to get you put in the right direction. Thanks. Bye.